It's Skyknighter here, and I am here to review Youmacon 2023. I recently got back from the convention, and I have a lot to talk about. Or I guess I shouldn't say that I recently came back. The convention was like pretty much almost 2 weeks ago. By the time I upload this video, and I think it will officially have been like 2 weeks since the con. The reason I wasn't able to get the video sooner is mainly because I was, busy with some stuff. But on top of that, I also had a bit of a cold, and it just didn't make me really want to do anything. But here I am now with the video, and after this one, I'll be doing another video, convention related, which I'll talk about in a bit. But for the time being, I will be talking about some of my experiences. I will be talking about before the con, which is like a first in my convention reviews, and then I'll be mentioning some stuff after the convention, and then I'll also obviously be mentioning some stuff that happened during the convention. A lot of like stuff has just happened behind the scenes and all that, and I don't think I can actually full on concrete give out some answers to some of the stuff here because I just don't really know too much. But a lot of stuff was revealed. Mainly, the just the con itself has been going on like a downward spiral for like the past like a while. I shouldn't say for the past like few years. I believe ever since 2019 the issues kind of started to come up, or maybe even before then. I don't know. I heard like 2017 some issues started to come up too. Youmacon 2018 was my first convention at the place. I said 2019 in my last year's video, but it was actually 2018. I actually have some photos from that year. But other than that, uh, yeah, that's just what's been, my experiences with the whole convention has been. I'll be mentioning some of my past experiences with the convention, on what they changed, and some of the experiences for this one as well. I will have a few negative things to say about the con, which is kind of unfortunate because usually I kept my neck out of the whole bad stuff. I just focused on like the good because I just wanted to have a fun time, like a fun 3 days of just being at the con. But for these issues, I just cannot ignore them. I have to acknowledge these ones. This is quite big, but I'll talk about some of them right now. So before the con, there was a big issue with the hotel blocks. The hotel blocks were meant to be announced in July. They were first announced in June, said they'd be announced in July, and the official date for the hotel blocks was not given out until October. That's when they first started to, come out, which was a bit of a problem because a lot of people were just waiting for the hotels to, come out. Like, it was so bad that some people actually started to book their own hotel anyway. And by the time the hotel blocks were announced, that some people already had their hotels, up and running. So it didn't really matter that much to them. But it was, they were eventually announced, and they did get, some deals going. One of the noteworthy issues is that the Rensen, for the first time ever, was not featured in the Youmacon hotel lineup. And not only that, but the Rensen was also quietly removed from the website as a whole. Now, typically, Youmacon also has their convention in the Rensen to, hold some of their events. Now, I'll be talking about the Rensen a bit more in like during the con and what happened with the whole situation with that. But for the first time, yeah, the Rensen was actually not, available for Youmacon. On top of that, the food court that the Rensen usually has was also not going to be open either. So I couldn't actually go and, or any of us really couldn't go and eat at the Rensen. So it really sucked, but luckily the Kobo actually had a food court with them, or I guess Huntington as some people may call, but I know most everybody calls it Kobo Hall at least. I'll be calling it Kobo, but yeah, that's basically what happened with the Rensen. So now I'll be talking about the issues during the convention. One of the first issues that I found was that the lineups, mainly during the one on Thursday. When I arrived at the con, I arrived approximately around quarter after 6, pretty much. And the lineups were really big. I arrived at 6:14. I don't know why I remember the exact time I arrived there, but I just do. But when I arrived there, the line was super huge, and it stretched all the way from around the right side of Kobo to the left side of Kobo. It was pretty, long. It was probably the longest line that I've ever seen. And the ticket booth never opened until 7:15. This is because the staff were not let in until around, I believe, 6:45, and it never got set up until like 30 minutes later. I don't know why they were never let in, but I guess that was just a thing. And I was waiting there for at least like 3 hours. It's like 3 hours, and I never got my pass until like 9:30, pretty much. So that really sucked. But oh well, I eventually got my pass. Another thing that happened during the convention, and this mainly happened on Saturday. I never had any issues on Friday really that really stood out to me or that came up to me. Was that the maid cafe was canceled. That was a big blow to a lot of people who paid for, their maid cafe ticket. So like it was really bad that people just wanted refunds, but instead Yumicom was going to offer refurbishments for next year's maid cafe, and that's what people are saying. There's not going to be a next year, given the entire situation that unfolded at there, or like some people just weren't going to come back. Eventually, the Youmacon staff decided, okay, we'll offer refunds, but instead of a refund, if you want a refurbishment for next year, then you're also free to do that. But a lot of people just wanted refunds for their maid cafe pass. It actually closed down, or was canceled technically, an hour before it even started. Now, the entire layout of the con basically changed. Like it shuffled around the entire area. And because of that, they since there's also no staff either, apparently, they also canceled the maid cafe because there's no one to really keep an eye on it. Which honestly, I really don't know how that was even a thing, but oh well. I don't know why they couldn't just ask some people to, look over the maid cafe and maybe get like a little like reward for it. But I don't know. I guess I'm not the leader of Youmacon, so I really can't tell how that really went down. But yeah, so the maid cafe was basically canceled. Vendors were also another thing that I guess this was probably more of a forecon issue, so I don't know why I'm mentioning this right now. But the vendors were also have a bit of an issue in terms of signing up. Vendor applications never this is mainly Artist Alley vendors. I should be more specific, but the Artist Alley never really was properly handled either. Artist Alley applications were not announced until 60 days before the con was happening. And they never knew if they got in until about 30 days before the con. So typically, when there's artist alleys, they're usually announced 6 months in advance instead of 60 days. But I guess this time it was a bit of a short notice. I think some artist alleys returned this year. I don't know. I didn't pay too much attention to the artist alley, but it was also another issue that the con had as well. Another thing that during the convention that happened is there were no game tournaments. So there was no fighting game tournaments. There was nothing of the sort, which really did suck because I think that's one of the highlights of the game room is when you go there and you expect to see all these fighting game tournaments, unless they happen to happen in some of the building I never knew about. But to my knowledge, there were no fighting game tournaments or any tournaments at all, which really did suck. But well, what can you really do? Other issues that also happened to me were the lineups. I mentioned this on the Thursday, but this one's a bit more prevalent during the Saturday and Sunday, and I guess somewhat on Friday as well. That lineups were pretty terrible. Most of the stuff was, either like the lineups were long, or basically what happened is what they were trying to go for was like delayed. Especially on Saturday, the rave was delayed itself. The rave was supposed to start at 10 o'clock on that Saturday, but it didn't start until I believe like 11:30, 12 o'clock or something around that time. Apparently, there's also a rave on Friday, which I never knew about, but oh well, that didn't really matter to me much. But like the rave on Saturday, its lineup was pretty terrible, and I honestly thought it was going to be canceled at first, but no, it was not canceled. It still went on, and yeah, and the rave was it was all right. It was more like a lot of people didn't really like it, and they decided to have their own rave, which was a hallway rave. So when a convention would rather, or a convention like the con goers would rather have a normal like their own rave instead of like the actual rave, kind of just spells a lot of trouble for what the convention was really doing. But That was one of the other issues that kind of just went about. So then there were the Sunday issues. So basically, what I was trying to do for Sunday is I was trying to go into this line to go see this Pippin or Pippin. I don't know how to say her name fully. All I know is just people call her Pippin. And I wanted to see her because she's like one of those VTubers that just interests me. Out of all the lineup of everyone else, there was this one other VTuber I wanted to see, but I never got a chance to see them. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! But I never got a chance to see her because the lineup was, done differently than the other YouTuber lineups. Instead of putting everyone in like a small room, they just made a few people go in at a time to ask a question, and I wasn't able to ask my question because I was leaving at 4 o'clock on that Sunday. So the dealer's room was also going to be closing at 4 o'clock, and I kind of wanted to do some last minute shopping. So I had to get out of the line to go, you know, do my last minute shopping and then like leave the convention. But what if I stayed until the very end? Well, if it turned 4 o'clock, it all would have been for naught because everything was closed. At 4 o'clock on Sunday at Youmacon, all panels were canceled. The merchants hall was closed. The game room closed. As a matter of fact, they were packing up around 11 or 12, and the closing ceremony was not until 6 o'clock. So it really did suck that everything just went and ended at that time. And that's not like the thing either. Like Youmacon has like, taken out stuff like, basic features that like, have like I seen when I first started in like 2018. Like back when my first Youmacon, which I said was like 2018, there was like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Like ever since 2018, there has never been a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament since then, which is really sad. But what can you do for that? But that's not the only thing that's been taken away from Youmacon. There has been like no 24-hour game room. That's like disappeared. No Friday night rave, although I guess that kind of did change for this year's Youmacon if there were two raves technically. But so far, like that's also was a feature that was missing for the longest time either. There's probably like a few other options too that that they've missed. Like, and I mentioned before, like there was no game tournaments, no computers this year. But other than that, like that's just what's not been appearing at Youmacon since then. But the question you may be asking, was it all bad at Youmacon? And I will say this right now, no, it's not. There was definitely some fun things to be had, and I will be talking about. So the first things first, as I want to mention, is that I was actually cosplaying as Bocce for this convention. And this is going to be a bit of an important why I'm bringing this up first, because this actually brings on to a moment that happened at the arcade. So first things first, I want to talk about the arcade. Is they actually introduced some new arcade games there. There was Darkstalkers. That was the first time that the arcade Youmacon has ever had that game. Multi-Blood Actors Again Current Code also showed up for the first time as well. There was also some other arcade games like the X-Men arcade game, the Simpsons arcade game, and I believe a few others. And they had pinball for the first time, so that was quite nice. So even though like some features were taken away, um, they had some new stuff that was quite interesting that I found really neat. And I listed Time Crisis 2, but I don't think Time Crisis 2 um, is like old. I think that's the first time I've seen it there. I don't think I've seen it in the previous years. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong on that. But there was also Carnival, although Carnival did show up in the previous years, but this is the very first time I decided to play Carnival. Of course, my finger was tired of me, pressing the trigger all the time, and only played like one level. But very fun game, and if you ever do get a chance to play Current Evil, I do highly recommend it. But there was actually an awkward moment that I had while I was wearing this cosplay, and that there was this guy who was doing a presentation. He was going around the arcade, like showing everybody all these arcade games and all that. So literally, what ended up happening was, since I was in my cosplay and he was doing his presentation, he went over to the Current Evil arcade cabinet and did his little presentation on it. And I'm just, standing there shooting, and it just felt so awkward of me, like, just being there in my cosplay while this guy was doing his presentation. It's just like, it was just, I don't know. It was funny, but a little weird, but I did still enjoy it. Um, Other than that, that was basically the arcade right there. Very fun. I guess the arcade is like the one thing that did carry this convention through. So there was that. Another thing that I really did enjoy was the videos against humanity, which was an 18 plus event, or was it like random videos on the internet? I don't quite remember the title and what it was called, but I did go to this panel. It was very interesting because they showed us like really weird videos that you could like find on the internet. Although if you like knew some of these YouTubers though, they probably weren't weird now that you've seen them. Like they showed like these like two Pacific like, YouTubers that I've seen on the internet, and I don't remember their names on the top of my head, but I'll basically show them right now on the screen. But basically, if like maybe if this was the very first time that I saw them, like all right, yeah, this would be a bit weird because they did show a few YouTubers who did do some weird stuff. Don't get me wrong, there was some weird stuff, but some of the stuff that I did see wasn't like weird. But other than that, I did enjoy, the panel very much. Another thing I went to see was, the rave. It was okay, but it was overall pretty fun. It had some nice music, I suppose, but I didn't stay for too long because I was really tired, and because I was there for like I believe 15 hours at the con. Yeah, I stayed pretty much almost all day without taking a break, really. In like my cosplay shoes, and literally, my feet started to hurt. So I wanted to go back. I mean, they were hurting for like a long time, so I like sit down for like hours on end. But other than that, that was basically the con overall. And now I'll be talking about some of the cosplayers that I saw. Now I won't be showing any photos of them, but I'll be showing a picture of the character just to give you guys an idea on what they were. There are three other bocces at the con on Saturday, so that was pretty cool. I wasn't the only bocce there, so I met like other bocces. It was really nice that when you see someone who's like as your cosplay as well. I just found that kind of cool, like especially someone who's like to me that's like new to it. I saw Passan there as well. That's very nice too, because Passan's quite niche in general. So that was quite nice. I also saw two Shonas from Sephiroth the End. One of them had the scythe too, which is pretty nice. And I saw Isaac Clarke from Dead Space. This guy had like the entire armor there and the plasma cutter, so that was pretty nice. Especially since I just completed the Dead Space remake and like reviewed it itself, and it was a really nice game. In case you guys are curious, but yeah, that was really nice that I found that. I found an Ichiban from Yakuza Like a Dragon. So that was another cosplay that I saw. There was a Johnny, Soul Bad Guy, and Testament from Guilty Gear were there. The Johnny and Testament were from the recent game Guilty Gear Strive, but the Soul I believe was from the previous games. I believe the older Guilty Gear games, like not like I believe like past Exart. I could be wrong, but this one was definitely like dress up the old-fashioned Soul from the Guilty Gear games, but still pretty nice that I did see that. I also saw a Liz and Patty from Soul Eater, and what was interesting about this one is that there was an Alucard there who like had his two guns there, and he gave like one of them to the Liz and the other one to the Patty, and they all like did like a special pose together, which I found that pretty nice, very interesting. So yeah, that was very cool to see. For the first time ever, I saw a Kuma and two Afro Samurai cosplays. This is the very first convention that I saw Afro Samurai ever be cosplayed, and they were very nice. I really do enjoy Afro Samurai as a whole, and seeing them was very interesting because I never, I've never like seen like, anyone cosplay as that. For the very first time that I saw at Youmacon, someone cosplayed as Enterprise from Azur Lane, so I found that pretty nice. Seeing Enterprise was quite cool. Other than that, I also saw three Arknights cosplayers there for the first time as well. One of them cosplayed as the Doctor, and I saw a Texas and Lapaland cosplay. So, that was pretty cool. I also saw a Gino for the first time I ever seen anyone cosplay as Gino. So, that was nice that Super Mario RPG was getting some, love and attention that it deserved. Especially now that the remake has, come out, and we can all enjoy that game. And I also saw a crocodile and an Akainu from One Piece, which I found that really nice. Very nice cosplays. There's a lot I can mention. Everyone, cosplayed very nicely, and I could be here for like hours on end, just mentioning like all the nice ones that I saw. But other than that, that is going to do it for this video right here. The next Youmacon-based video that I'll be talking about will be on the worst anime that I asked people at Youmacon. So that will be, that that will be worked on by the time this video is being uploaded. I'll be tallying the votes, getting some gameplay footage, and yeah. So other than that, I hope you guys liked what you saw, and I will see you all in the next one.